Today I'm going to be doing my argumentative speech on supporting a sales tax on sugar sweetened beverages. When it comes to the state of our nation's health, I don't think there's any debate. The United States is facing an obesity epidemic. What is less clear is how to address this significant problem. It is my firm belief that perhaps the best potential remedy to the situation is putting a tax on sugar sweetened beverages. The advantages of such a tax are numerous. Firstly, additional taxes would discourage the sale of beverages with no nutritional value, thereby slowing the progression of the obesity epidemic in America. Secondly, the state governments would gain much needed revenue from individuals intent on purchasing such beverages. However, detractors claim that a tax on sugar sweetened beverages is elitist and that it is yet another cost that disproportionately burdens the poorest Americans' wallets. Meanwhile, others do not believe this added tax would make any difference to the soda drinking or health habits of the average American. So first off, there is an obesity epidemic in the US, and sugar sweetened beverages seem to be a major contributor to this. According to the CDC, more than one third, or 78.6 million US adults, are obese or morbidly obese. This costs the US $147 billion yearly. It was also shown through a study conducted by Malik et al. That people who consume at least one sugary drink per day have a 26% greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes than people who rarely have such drinks. It is also scary to know that children, the future of our country, are especially vulnerable to the dangers of sugar-sweetened beverages. Another study done by Ludwig et al. Showed that for each 12-ounce soda children consume each day, the odds of becoming obese increased by 60% after doing a 1.5 year follow-up with these kids. So what can be done to curb this problem? I think an easy solution to this problem would be to put a tax on sugar-sweetened beverages to help decrease sales and to improve the overall health of the community. Economists have estimated that a tax of a mere penny per ounce would reduce consumption by 10 to 15% over the next decade. Basically, if you take a 12-ounce soda, there would be 12 cents added to the purchase. Same would go for an 8-ounce soda, it'd be 8 cents. You may be wondering how this decrease would translate into saving lives. A study done by some scientists at the University of California, San Francisco found that a tax of a penny per ounce would prevent nearly 240,000 cases of new onset diabetes, 100,000 cases of heart disease, 8,000 strokes, and over 26,000 deaths over the next decade. One of the reasons detractors give for not supporting this tax is that they don't think it makes a significant impact. So basically, the small number of people that it would save is not meaningful enough for them to support this tax. But think if you're one of the 1,000 people that are affected by the impact is significant. So furthermore, many who do not favor this tax do not think it would stop people from buying or drinking soda. What people may not understand is that this tax is not intended to entirely eliminate the consumption of soda. Rather, such a tax would allow people to exercise choice while generating hundreds of millions of dollars in needed revenue to go back into the community. According to Yale's Rudd Center for Food Policy and Obesity in 2014, New York City residents will consume nearly 169 million gallons, of soft drinks alone. This doesn't count, diet varieties such as, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. It doesn't count like Red Bull or anything like that. If taxed at this rate of a penny per ounce, this would generate just shy of $216 million of revenue just for this New York City alone. Similar results can be expected for all the other major cities. For example, in LA, we would see almost a $50 million revenue. In Houston, we would see almost a $66 million revenue. In Chicago, we would almost see a $95 million revenue. These are just examples of some of the major cities in our country. In addition to direct revenue generation from the sale of soda, it is also estimated that a tax will save $17 billion over the next decade in healthcare-related costs that are associated with obesity and those sugary drinks. On the other hand, opponents of the soda tax argue that it is just one more tax that will hit poor people's wallets the hardest. However, the long-term savings from improved health is well worth the cost. Think of how many fewer medications we would need to be purchased. Think of how many less doctor's visits we would need to go to, and think of the amount of surgical procedures that we would need to have if we just take care of this problem now. Combine this all with the fact that water is free, don't forget. If push comes to shove, people can drink water and it would not cost them anything. People don't need sweetened and sugary drinks to survive in this world. And you can't argue with the success. A similar comparison can be made with cigarettes. an item that has been heavily taxed over the past half century. A comprehensive study found that the price of a package of cigarettes is inversely related to both smoking participation and consumption. This basically states that if you increase the amount of cost for the cigarettes, that means less people will be smoking. And if you decrease the amount of cigarettes, then more people will start smoking again. Soda tax is the wave of the future. And in the most recent election, in Berkeley, California, it became the first city in the nation to adopt a soda tax. And the vote was passed with over 75% of the cities supporting this tax. Soda taxes, I feel, should be enacted in all states across the country in order to help prevent obesity and raise money. It has been shown in many studies the detrimental effects that sugar-sweetened beverages can have on Americans, especially on children. A soda tax would prove beneficial in the sense that it would deter some people from purchasing the beverages, while on the other hand, it would bring in revenue to the community if citizens do decide to buy these beverages. So all in all, I feel that it's a win-win situation no matter how you look at it. And I also have some diagrams I would like to show you guys that would help explain my point better. So this is a graph right here. This is a pie chart right here of Contra Costa County in California. And this is what the revenue would be just from putting a tax on soda, which would come out to around $39.3 million of revenue for a year. And this pie chart right here shows where the money would be going. So they would say 22.9 million would be going to directly to our classrooms, so helping kids in the classroom. 8.4 million would go to after-school programs and sports programs, and 8 million would go to PE and healthy lunch program in the country right now. So, and then over here it shows all the costs that they're cutting over this next year because of, costs are rising for everything. So this would just help with offsetting some of those budget cuts in that county. And there's also a statistic here that shows that if there was a tax in every single city in the state of California, that they would see almost a $1.7 billion revenue for that year. And secondly, this is my other chart that I want to show you guys. This is a chart that shows where sugar comes in our diet. This is for people that are 2 years of age and older. And clearly this section of the pie chart right here takes the cake. And that is where we get the majority of our sugar in our diet, which is from sugary drinks, soda, energy drinks. So that just goes to show how much of an area or how much that takes a toll on our diet. Okay, so basically we need to put a tax on soda to help curb these problems that we're having in America. Thank you.